Hey guys, it's me, Brittany, also known as Pretty Handy Girl, and I wanted to go ahead and give you my empowerment talk today. This is a talk that I've been giving whenever I give speeches at conferences and for the Restore. So I hope you enjoy it. Part of the talk is giving you a little bit of a background about myself and how I became handy and why I think that you are handy too, but you may not realize it. So I want to start back when I was a child. I'm the oldest of 3 daughters, and I grew up in a suburb of Washington, D.C., in a little town called Vienna, Virginia, although it's not so little anymore. My parents purchased a very small ranch house. It was only 670 square feet, and it had 2 bedrooms. When my first sister was born, their second child, they decided they needed to add on to the house to make room for my sister and then ultimately my youngest sister. And so they basically took off the roof of the house and they added on top of the house, and they also built over the 1-car garage. And when I say that they did it, I mean they did it themselves, and all while we were living in the house. And what I didn't realize was that when people add onto their house, normally they hire a contractor and that they move out. So this kind of is what was part of my childhood, was growing up in a house under construction. And it was actually kind of fun sometimes, because I remember that we had an extension ladder in our living room that went up to the 2nd floor, and at the end of the day we would climb the extension ladder up there to the bedrooms, and we would go to sleep for the night, and in the morning we would climb back down the extension ladder and go about our daily activities. In my memory, I thought that the extension ladder there was for about 2 to 3 months, although my dad told me recently that it was there for 3 years. So in this slide, there's actually a picture of the framing of the stairs when my dad and mom finally got around to adding some sort of stairway, because I realized that it probably was pretty nerve-wracking for my mom to guide myself up the ladder at 5 and my middle sister up the ladder at 3, and then my mom was actually pregnant with my youngest sister, and then after she was born, she was carrying an infant up the extension ladder. So things were a little bit interesting as we were growing up. Of course, I don't remember it as being scary, but my mom told me it was pretty frightening. Another cool thing about growing up in a house that was under construction is that when there were repairs or projects to be done, my dad and mom would call us over and say, "Hey, you want to see what we're doing, or do you want to help us?" And I remember my dad showing me how to wire an outlet when I was 8 years old. Now fast forward 20 years, and my husband and I bought our first house in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it wasn't a new house. It was about 25 years old, so it had some repairs and some updates that needed to be done. And you'd think I'd be set. You'd think that I'd know how to do all kinds of repairs because I grew up in a house that was under construction. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not a very good listener when my parents tell me what to do or when they show me what to do. I think I know it all, and so I really didn't remember any of the things that they had taught me. But what I do remember is that I remember that my parents had the faith in me and gave me the confidence to do it myself. I realized that they were showing me how to do things because they felt like this was something that I can do. And so that faith and confidence has become internalized in me, and it's become this mantra that I always say to myself when I'm getting ready to take on a new project that I don't know how to do. And that mantra is that if a human being can do it, then there's a 95% chance that I can do it too. And this mantra has carried me through a lot of home improvement projects. It has allowed me to do some repairs and projects that I never ever would have dreamed possible. For example, in this picture, that's me using a pneumatic floor nailer, and I'm installing some wood floors into our current house in our living room. And those aren't pre-engineered floors. Those are not the kind that they click, click, click together and they're done. Those are actually from a farmhouse that was torn down, and it was over 100 years old, and it's antique heart pine. And the floors were all different heights, so the the boards had to be sanded down and refinished when they were finished. And the scary thing is that I had actually never used a drum sander before, and we didn't have any excess wood from that project. So I was a little bit nervous about ruining the floors and then not having any more wood to make any repairs. But I stepped back and I reminded myself, if a human being can do it, then there's a 95% chance that I can do it too. And I didn't step into this project blindly. I actually went on YouTube and I Googled how to use a floor sander. And I watched some videos on YouTube and learned how to use the drum sander. And then when I rented the equipment from Home Depot, I asked the guys there, could you show me how to use this? Because I really did not want to screw up our floors. So fast forward, to the end of the project, and the floors came out beautiful. They are a showpiece in our house, and we always get comments about them. And I do have friends that will say things like, oh, I wish I could do something like that, or I wish I was handy, or, will you come help me, put wood floors in my house? And I'm a really giving person, and I really do like to help people. But being a stay-at-home mom of 2 boys, I don't normally have excess time. So this actually was the impetus of starting the blog. And so my goal is to try to teach people how to do things, how to be handy, or how to, make repairs, or how to craft themselves. But it also got me to thinking, I wonder why people don't believe in themselves, why they aren't handy, or why they can't do it themselves. Why is it easy for me and not for other people? And I have this theory that growing up, women and little girls and just about anybody might get these messages like, careful, don't touch, oh, you can't do that by yourself, or you might mess it up, or, you should hire a professional to do that, or that's a man's job. And I think those messages become internalized in people, and it puts up this wall of fear in front of them that doesn't allow them to complete their own home improvement project or their own DIY project. And those messages can be really detrimental to someone's confidence. But let's look at this from a different angle. When little kids are learning how to swim, the adults or the instructors or their parents will give them positive, empowering messages like, you can do this. It's okay. I've got you. They don't tell them things like, hey, you should be careful around that pool because you could drown. I mean, if you think about it, swimming is a dangerous sport. But with the positive messages, the child internalizes those, that, the parent has them, the parent believes in them, and it allows them to take the plunge. And I think that being handy and being able to complete your own DIY project is very similar. You need to have positive messages. And so I'm here to tell you guys that I know that every single one of you that's listening or reading my blog, that you can handle a do-it-yourself project. You may not be able to start with a really, like a big project like putting in wood floors, but you can start with smaller projects, and you can ask for help, and you can Google how to do something. But you guys, I know you are smart, and I know you can figure this out. You just have to believe in yourself, and I want you to know that I believe in you. Now, this is actually a picture of my boys, and my main goal besides, my main goal before empowering you guys is actually to empower my own children. So I encourage you guys to do the same thing, and the way that I do it is I teach them how to do everything that I can do, and that's not just using a drill and not using a hammer and learning how to, saw with a handsaw or build things. I teach them how to cook, and I teach them how to clean, and I teach them how to sew, and I let them help me with things that I'm working on, because I want them to have that confidence in themselves to be able to do anything that they put their minds to. So that's definitely my main goal, and I hope that as you who are listening who might have children or work with children, let the kids in your lives do things and show them how to do everything that you can do, because it does build empowering messages in them, and it builds up their self-esteem. Now, at the SNAP conference, I talked a lot about how to use different power tools. So I put up this slide to show the majority of the tools that are in a typical DIYer's garage or workshop. But I know that a lot of you are starting out and that you may not, feel comfortable using all these. So I went ahead and put together another slide that shows you all the tools that I know you can use. And it's the same slide and it's the same tools, because I really believe in you guys. And if you want to, on the sidebar of my blog, there is a button that says Tool Tutorial Friday. And if you click on that, up will come all of the video tutorials that I've created for each one of the tools. And I encourage you to go ahead and watch those to familiarize yourself with some power tools, but then also ask for help, reach out to people. Google and YouTube are great resources. Talk to people that you know that have a particular power tool that might be able to assist you and kind of help you while you're still learning. But seriously, you guys are all really smart. I know that you can handle this. So thanks for listening today, and I hope you'll check out some more of my tutorials.